Hello, everybody. We are Sirene Idol Club. Let's just introduce ourselves real quick. I am Allie. I am the Daya, Ellie, and I of the group. And Hanah.
Hi, I'm Hanah, she Hanah, and I am the Honoka, Mari, and Kasumi of the group.
And Bunny.
Hi, I'm Bunny. You can also call me Jay, but Bunny. And I am the Ruby, Hanayo, and Rina of the group.
And Jordan.
Hi, I'm Jordan. I'm the Nozomi, the Yo, and the Karin of the group.
And Kristen.
Hello. Yes, my name is Kristen. I also go by Sierra. I do the Umi, Kanan, and Setsuna for this group.
Excellent. And we just wanted to tell you guys about forming an idol group. We are relatively new, but all of us have been in an idol group before, except for Hanah. I'm sorry. But most of us have been in an idol group before. And we just wanted to share some things that we have learned and some little tips for everybody that wants to start a new group. Because during a pandemic is a great time to start new things.
We'll start planning for them at least.
Yes. And we have done a little bit. It's usually social distance, or we will keep track of the numbers. Obviously, always wear masks during practice and dancing. But we're just trying to be as safe as possible for everybody's safety and health. So
Masks are extremely important at practice. We personally have a rule set where if we're at practice, we wear a mask the entire time. We do not take it off, even if you're hot and sweaty. No, because that's for our safety, your own and everyone around you.
But aside from that, the actual planning and group forming, there are some superficial things that seem unimportant. They are very important, and they're also really fun, but there are some other deeper, really important things like safety. So we will get into both of those. So let's do the superficial stuff first, because that is the fun stuff. And to start out,
It is the fun stuff.
Oh yeah, it's the most fun to think about, and it's the stuff that floats around in your head all day. But we'll start out with naming, and this is the hardest part to think about, is trying to be original and having something that is both searchable, unique, and really gives an idea of the group vibe, I guess. But originality is really important if you want to have something that is searchable. A memorable name will also make it easier for people to obviously search and keep you guys in mind for the next idol event and anything that you want to perform in. It's also handy to have a decent name so that you're not going into search for a specific idol group and something completely different pops up. There was some of that with our last group, which was Virago. When you searched that, a whole bunch of motorcycles came up, which was kind of rad.
Vroom.
It's also not the best idea to name a group regarding some other part of that media, because they could try to search your group name and then that part of the media will pop up instead of your group name. And while that's fun, hey, you're getting the media you're looking for, it's not your group. So you're not going to get as much reach doing that.
I'd also like to add, as someone who's kind of new to joining groups, I love seeing groups that have high concepts, in the sense of you have a theme to go off of. It might be an aspect of the idol group, or it might be an aspect of the series that you guys are dancing off of. But coming in with a high concept, some do, shiny glamour aspects, others do maybe cyber aspects, but that really helps get a concept and lets people know kind of the themes and aesthetics you're looking for.
And it really helps in creating content. Like if you get stuck somewhere trying to figure out what to do next, you can use your theme to help guide your decisions in that. And we will be doing some of that soon with, well, obviously we're Sirene, so we are mermaid themed, and we will be doing aquarium and mermaid festa soon because we kind of have to.
Yeah, it's obligatory.
Mandatory.
Yes. Also, in that same vein as names, logos and symbols and even colors are also very important because even if the name doesn't stick out, having a symbol or a picture to go with that will. And there's a lot of similar groups. There's a lot of candy out there as a symbol. So
Yeah.
in forming this group, I wanted to stay away from candy and hearts. And I wanted to go with, obviously, a water theme because Aqua is my favorite group. If you can't tell, clearly. So I wanted to go with something watery and mermaidy. So obviously went with a mermaid tail because Sirene.
It's a good idea to have kind of a logo in mind, whether you create it yourself or you commission someone else to make one, because having a unique logo instead of appropriating one from something else is also a good way to like grab attention. Like we commissioned ours, for example, and so we have an image that draws people that people can recognize when they see it, like, oh, that's Sirene. So, you know.
And it's also not copyrighted as well. It's something that is
Yes.
important.
It's very important, yes. That same goes for like music or whatever, whether it's just anything you do, you want to try to avoid that as much as possible. So that goes for graphics as well.
Yeah, and going off of like how we commissioned ours, just also supporting local like artists and stuff in your neighborhood and everything, because that also extends your reach, extends their reach, so it kind of gives you guys partnerships and all that kind of stuff too.
And I just found that in coming up with the symbol and name, I came up with a list of all the different symbols that I have seen idol groups use and tallied up which other groups also share that. Yeah, flowers, space, stars, hearts, and candy are extremely popular. So that is something to consider when you are forming a group.
They're all definitely going for a very specific aesthetic, though. So, I mean, we can give them that.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with going with any of these themes. It's just per our suggestion to try to think of something that hasn't been done before.
More unique,
just so that if you want to get your name out there and to stick out among the crowd, the sea of idol groups, because there are a lot of us. It's good to have a unique theme as opposed to one that a lot of other people have done.
Yeah, it just brings you to the forefront when somebody Googles your idol group name. So you can also look on Idol Directory on Instagram. There's a lot of idol groups.
There are a lot.
Shout out.
Not to name.
Social media is also a very handy tool for idol groups. Just being able to post instant content, like just get dressed up and immediately post a picture, it is extremely powerful. Having enough content to get you like built up, I guess, is extremely helpful.
And don't forget positivity with posts for your group and others.
Yeah. Stuff with negative captions and connotations is a little bit harmful if you are going for a more positive image. And I know that Jay is also a master social media person.
I run our Instagram, and I'm mostly in charge of like the aesthetics of it and the way it's posted, but I also try to make sure our captions are as sunny and positive as possible, usually saying like, oh, today's a good day, or I hope everyone's having a good day. If you're making any sort of social media post, make sure the caption is also just as positive as the post itself, because people do read those captions, and if you say like, oh, I don't like how I look in this, but whatever, it's not something people are going to want to see, especially if it's an idol group. You want it to encapsulate everyone in the group and not be so personal, and you want it to be positive. That way everyone in the group looks positive and good,
You want to try to make them smile.
Yes.
Yeah. Which is kind of the goal of an idol. Unless, of course, you are going toward that aesthetic, which I know some groups do.
Which is totally fine and honestly kind of cool, but
it's pretty edgy. I like it.
I like it.
Edgy.
But in general, idols are meant to spread positivity and happiness, so you want to try to emulate that in your group as much as possible, because that's what we're here for,
Yeah, because no matter how little or how much your group puts out, you never know like who you're out there inspiring, and you could be making people's day and you just don't even know.
Yeah, you have an impact no matter how small.
I didn't even know idol groups existed until a couple years ago. Like, I didn't know there were groups in our area or other Love Live fans in our area. I thought I was like the only one. And then I went to Naka, and there's all this Love Live, and it really did change my life, if I'm being honest.
To back off what others have said, like, I think the other important thing too is that like you are your own like not sponsor, but like you are your own rep of your idol group. So while you're sharing things on your main page, like you, as well as like your personal Instagram or whatever, official pop cosplay group you own or share on like a Facebook or Instagram, like you are advertising for yourself.
It's a brand.
It is. It really is.
Even if you're not selling anything or like trying to market a product, it's still a brand.
We're selling and marketing our talents and positivity and happiness.
Where to meet is also something very big, and you do need to figure that out very soon. As much as studios are great and very handy, love all those mirrors.
Love the mirrors. Oh my god.
Mirrors are the things I miss the most about being in a studio.
They're very expensive. And somebody has to pay for it. And
plus also a pandemic.
Yeah. Woo! But yeah, even if you guys are splitting the costs, it doesn't work very well if somebody repeatedly tries to not pay. So might as well just forego that option to keep conflict down and costs down, and find some cheaper alternatives like a basement in somebody's house or their driveway, preferably not the middle of the road. Just some big, large space.
Or a community center, or something that will volunteer the space for you free, or for some kind of donation.
Or just a price that's not as ridiculous as a lot of studios that you would see. Because again, as much as I love being in the studio and having access to all of the things that the studio has to offer, it is a very pricey option. So unless you are confident that you and your members are going to be able to afford and keep up with that location, I would stay away from it.
In an old group, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
In an old group, we had used a studio for quite a while, really. It was almost
a few months.
Yeah, it was a few months. It was almost a year. But they kept saying like, hey, you guys haven't paid yet. And no, I always paid up front. And even like before, I would pay for the week after the one that we were just in. So they kept trying to say that we didn't pay. And then they tried to say, oh, well, now the price is higher. And we went, no thanks. So it messed us up for a little while, but we got back on track.
Because I know the group I was in Omaha, Nebraska, also had some of those issues because COVID and everything, but like we were just using the Y. I only actually got to go to one practice there, and like we had our time scheduled and everything because you have to like book it in advance because the studio is really popular, and we still always would get like kicked out. Like, and I guess I said that was like a common issue, is that like the next class would come in early and then we would just get kicked out, and we just practice outside because where else are we gonna do it? And that ended up being what we did a lot, was just, well, I guess we'll just be outside.
Yeah, we did that a few times. One time it was rainy and it was horrible.
But I think the important part too is like not only practicing while you're in the studio and with each other, but also practicing while you're at home and really just kind of getting your body used to those muscle movements and getting that memory in there, and just kind of starting with yourself and then bringing what you already have to the table and then being able to work on it with other people is what really ends up working in the end, for us at least.
Yeah, to piggyback off what Jordan said, like I really appreciate that we've been able to, since because of COVID, if we can't always meet, we just send in videos every week, which I think really helps, because even if it's like just small little critiques like, oh, great work, or like great energy, you're still, like Jordan said, like training yourself so that when you get in the space together, it's just a matter of, oh, okay, we're like this far apart. Oh, okay, I'm moving behind this person. But it really helps once you know the moves, the group works better.
Yeah. And making the most of your time at practice is extremely important as well. We do like to talk, we like to chat, but you can't nail a dance if you're not practicing the dance. So
spending an entire practice chit-chatting is completely counterintuitive. While one of the aims to being in an idol group, for pretty much anyone in a group, is to have fun and enjoy your hobby and share it with friends. It's important to remember the goal at hand, which is to dance, to be an idol, to perform. And if we're not practicing, there's really nothing's getting done. We're not doing what we're here for, you know?
And the fun part of being in an idol group is getting to dance with friends and perform on stage with friends. So, I mean, might as well get some of that done, you know?
Yeah. We can chat and we can dance.
Absolutely.
There's nothing wrong with goofing around during practice, but
and stretching. Stretching is important.
Oh my gosh.
Do stretch.
Stretching.
Definitely stretch.
Stretching and warm-ups.
Stretching and warm-ups are definitely something that we try to do before we practice. Last practice I went to, I did not stretch. Because I was a little bit late, I just jumped right into the dance, and I was really sore the next day.
You literally jumped right into the dance.
I literally did, because my solo was coming up, so I had to I literally dropped my bag and ran into place.
I love it. I'm so sad I missed that.
Yeah.
It's really funny. No, literally, I came in and then Hanah was like, your solo's coming up. So I threw my bag down.
I mean, we kept going. It was great. It was a good run.
It was a good run.
You have to just keep going. Just keep going.
Yes, the show must go on.
That's true for live performances too. While I've never experienced a live performance, I know that making a mistake is not the end of the world, just in my experience of being in performance before.
Yeah.
Whenever you make a mistake, just
if you play it off like it's like supposed to be that way, then no one will ever know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
If you've been in performing arts,
choreography changes.
Yeah. Surprise choreography change. No, this truth is the same in any performing art, not just idol things. So if you've been in a performing art before, a lot of those things do translate over to idol work as well, which honestly is really nice.
Absolutely. Another very important thing to consider when you are forming an idol group is scouting. it's a very big one. It's very difficult. But basically, there's no right way to scout. It's always difficult. It's very, very worth the trouble, though. And some of the different ways to scout, I guess, there's got to be a different word for that, is word of mouth. Being able to talk to your friends and say, hey, I'm forming this group. You want to join? You want to hang out? That's very important. Yeah, networking. Posting it to social media helps a lot. You can also do that with Idol Directory as well. And just being able to connect with other fans in the area is very nice. Or even all the way up in another state. Hey.
Sierra is all the way in Nebraska. Well, most of us are based in Kansas City area, Kansas City, Kansas, Kansas City, Missouri area. We love her very much.
Very much.
Drives 3 hours each way.
That is
to practice.
Dedication.
And they found me through scouting.
Yes, this is true. We posted our scouting things to social media, and that's how we found Sierra.
Very good.
So happy we did.
It seems like Instagram is kind of the place for idols lately.
Typically, when you have, if you're wanting, you're right. Like when you're wanting to create any sort of like dance group, having an Instagram is one of the best ways to go. You can easily post photos and videos, and those are two of the biggest things about idol work. Like I always, I make sure to post our covers to IGTV as well as YouTube. So
and then you can use the stories for scouting and stuff like that. And Instagram it's just so many different ways to do stuff on there.
Instagram is a fantastic place to market, advertise, share your idol work.
And there's such a huge community too. That's the best part, is it just the community is constantly growing.
It really is. And you all just kind of become friends with each other. We're all following different groups. You see each other's posts in your feeds and you're like, oh, this group's doing this. It's so fun. It's really a fun community to be a part of.
It's fun to support each other and just lift each other up, and because we all know what each other are going through, so it's important to be there for each other and to
go off of that. Also, staying positive, but also never feel bad if you join a group and you don't actually click with those people. That is totally okay.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
It is
all the time.
It's totally cool to join a group, realize it's not for you, and then sorry, I gotta peace out because it's just not a good fit.
Keep doing idol stuff, keep having fun, but sometimes it's okay to find other people to do it with.
Yeah, there is absolutely no issue, because really in the end it's for your own comfort. It's for it's your hobby,
Because if you're not having fun, what are you doing?
Exactly.
Yeah. And with word of mouth and posting to social media, mutual friends are pretty good too. That's how I joined the previous group, is I knew a lot of you through mutual friends, which is really cool.
That's how I joined every single group that I've been in, so.
That's kind of how this group formed. A few of us already knew each other from the past, whether it be from another idol group or you work together or whatever.
Saw each other at a con or...
Yeah.
We're working at Joanne's.
Hey.
You know it. Actually, to kind of add on too, as someone who's kind of newer to idol dancing, I used to be a really big Love Live fan in high school, but because of COVID, I really got back into the things I used to like, and so Love Live was one of them. And so when I joined in, I did not know anything about Nijigasaki, and so it really helped. So even if you might not, even if you're like, oh, I kind of like some of the characters and I really want to do this, but I don't know everything, don't feel like you have to know everything about the franchise to join in. I came in knowing nothing about Nijigasaki, and everyone in the group was like, we kind of know your personality. How about Kasumi? I was like, sure, and then I've just fallen in love with this character. So it helps that you have a trust, or even if they're just mutuals, once people get to know you a bit more, they can help you choose characters. If you're just like, I just want to dance, like I don't really know the series too well, but I just want to dance.
Going off of what you said, like that's how I first fell in love with my best girl, Nozomi. Like my first group, Angelic Angels, my friend Megan approached me because they were looking for word of mouth, scouting, word of mouth, So she approached me and asked me if I wanted to be in the group, but I didn't really know anything about it. And she basically got me into Love Live, and it just sounded like so much fun to like dance and everything. And I didn't know what I was getting into, but and I kind of went in a little too fast. But I fell in love with it, and I fell in love with the character that I came to portray. And sometimes just going and trying something out for the first time is really important.
I have a similar story with Aqua, actually. I was a diehard Muse fan. I refused to watch Sunshine, and then in joining Virago, which was the previous group, I was assigned to Daya, and I had no idea who this person was, but I finally broke down and watched the Sunshine seasons, and now Daya is the best girl, the queen. So
Can I get a boo boo?
Yes, ma.
so anyway.
Yeah, I feel like in our own way, we all kind of can relate to that, because that's how I got one of our other members who couldn't be here today to be a part of the group. Was like, I just needed someone to like help watch me like practice so I could build up confidence before recording my first solo for the group. And they were like, I like cosplaying. You look like you're having fun. How do I become a part of this?
And we love them very much.
Yeah,
yes.
And they know like nothing about the characters besides like my description and the aesthetic, and they're just like, I'm on board. I love it. Like,
so thankful for that too.
Like seriously, scouting can be by accident or like just by coincidence like that. It really, there is no right or wrong way to do it. I guess the wrong way would be to force someone to join.
Yeah, that would be the wrong way.
Yeah.
Also, in trying to actively scout and find somebody, definitely look for people that are kind, motivated to work hard, willing to help out, people that are reliable and will get along with others. All of those will basically guarantee that there will be minimal conflict, which is very important. We do not want conflict. A little bit is healthy, a lot of it is not, which we have found out in the past.
Just enough to be spicy.
Yeah,
That's all you want. Just enough to keep it spicy. Just get a little like face slapping motion like in the anime.
No.
Just enough to keep it spicy.
As long as it is not malicious conflict, a little bit of group banter is okay. Disagreements will happen all the time. It's not necessarily conflict. There will be a difference of opinion. You basically have, I would say 9, but that's just by Love Live standard. More than 3 people getting together and giving their own personalities to the group. So there will be some conflict, there will be disagreements, as long as they are not constant or like malicious, you'll be fine.
Yeah. And you just have to kind of like make sure the group meshes well together too, and that's part of finding the right people for the job. It's not a job. The job of being an idol.
Yes, because we get paid so much.
Get paid in smiles.
That's true.
I guess speaking of paying and money, budgeting is kind of something that is important in a group, whether it be finding a place to practice if you want to spend a little extra money to get a really nice place to practice, or finding a good photographer or someone with a good video camera to help shoot your PVs or do photo shoots, or commissioning someone to make a logo. Like, there is money that goes into this. While cosplay itself is already a hobby that requires funding, so does being a cosplay idol.
So and it is difficult to ask people for money. It's not cute to be like, "Hi, I'm an idol. Give me money." Kind of gotta work to build up a reputation, so you're not just asking strangers to give you money for some mysterious project.
But something important is to go into this knowing that money is going to be involved. If you try to join a group, especially one that is known for having very high quality productions, without a budget of your own, you're not going to have a very good time, and neither are they. And it's going to cause a lot of stress and a rift of somewhat. It's definitely something that's really important to keep in mind.
Yeah.
And I think people who have different budgets in mind for what they'd like to spend is something that you have to share with the group, because you have to see what you can all collectively go in on together and see what's affordable for everyone, and see that we all can get these shoes. Oh, we can all get these petticoats. It's important for us to be equal in that way, and to cater to that kind of mindset that we all deserve the same kind of quality despite whatever financial background we have.
Yeah, I'd also like to add to that with, like, don't get discouraged, whether it's like with scouting and everything. That takes a long time. With, if you wanted to make your own costumes and you want to make them the quality you want, all that takes time. And like, maybe you can't afford the super high-end cosplays, but there's always like cheaper, nice ones that are always still fun. You don't have to get the high-end ones. Maybe work
or secondhand.
That as well. Like, there's always great options, and like, don't get discouraged just because you can't get exactly what you want or the studio or setting that you want. Still, just always like, work with what you got and still make it your own.
As a casual cosplay is always an option too. You can just you can make your own little costume. You can,
casual cosplay.
Yeah, like there is absolutely nothing wrong with it. You can film an entire PV in casual cosplays. Like, if that's the budget that you're working with, then do it. Just talking about your budget with the group is very important. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, be upfront with, like, I can't afford this. We might have to choose something else. And also, by the way, Hanah did have to leave, so that is why.
Yeah.
But also, like, knowing like your measurements and stuff, especially with costumes, if you want like a Kanan outfit, maybe you might have to be prepared to spend a little more for like custom sizing and everything if you want it to look flattering on you, fit you properly, and all that good stuff.
This one that I'm wearing is custom sized, and there's no way that I would have fit into whatever their regular sizing would have been, and it still fit me to this day.
Same here with mine.
How long has this costume? We've had this for what? Almost 2 years
since
now?
like August.
About a year and a half.
Yeah.
A year and a half. Yeah, so
mine still fits me too.
That's the difference between custom sizing and then maybe making it yourself, but other than, just knowing your size and measurements is really important, like you said.
Something kind of going off of that, something that's really good in a group organization is very important.
Yes.
What we've learned from other people to do, we had this in our old group and I kind of brought it back into our new group, is to make a Google Drive. That's what we use anyway, with folders of different things. We have a folder for graphics and logos. We have a folder for like photo shoots. We have a folder for videos, and going off of what we were just talking about, we have a folder for personal information. Now those things cannot be shared with anybody, so trust is very important in your idol group. For that reason. We have a list for like allergies. We have a list for our size charts, so we can keep that in mind when we're looking for group costumes. We have
birthdays.
Yes.
We do have birthdays, yes.
Birthdays. We have a list. We have lists of everything, whether it be personal information, something we need to keep in mind for other people, so we can keep each other safe and comfortable. Oh, yes, contact information as well. So we can keep each other safe and comfortable, and we can just,
And contact information is super important, especially when you're at an event. So having that just in one spot, like, is super important.
Like if you,
I also find it very important considering how much I'd like travel to like meet up with you guys. Like I can't always get to like Instagram or something. So it's always nice knowing that you guys like have my phone number so that you guys can contact me, or if I'm lost or whatever have you.
Right.
Yes.
That is very important.
Having that important information in a folder, in a Google Doc that is only shared among your group, it's very important. It's always important to make sure that that information is between all of us and all of us only.
Yeah, don't go plastering it on your.
No.
Yeah, no.
And don't use any of that information against anybody. But having that Google Drive with all of those different folders and all of those different things is key to having an organized group. So like, hey, I need to post this. I don't have any photos of Umi. Kristen says, oh, I can put my photos of Umi in the drive. And I'm like, oh, great. Now I have these photos. So it's very important.
It's super handy. And I think at one point, I don't know if we still have it, but we did in the old group. We had a convention safety document where we had like a secret code just in case we needed to say like, hey, we're uncomfortable. Even though somebody that is making us uncomfortable is right next to us and we don't have to talk to them or let them hear.
Yeah, because the reality of the situation is like sometimes you are put in those uncomfortable situations. Like there have been times when filming in our past groups where people have been kind of creepy, like older men taking videos of us and things like that, and
that unfortunately has happened.
It has, and it's stuff to be aware of, especially if you allow minors in your group. And I think allowing minors into your group is a very important decision because it comes with a lot of different kind of
risks.
Ways to handle the group and risks and ways to handle the group and transportation and safety and all that kind of stuff.
Parental consent and letting the parent know, hey, we're doing this activity. Can Mackenzie come? That's just a name I pulled out of the air.
I will say my last group was, aside from me and I believe one other, were all minors, and like they were getting to the age of being adults in Nebraska and everything, but that was something we had to like take into consideration a lot, because especially with like just filming in general, locations that we went to, like we had to let them know that we had minors and that like their parents would either have to come to them, talk to whoever, make sure everything was okay. Like every time we went to practice, parents had to check the child in. So you have to make sure you're not just working with the minor schedule, but as well as the parents, to making sure that everyone can still have a good time and everything.
On the flip side of that, if you yourself are a minor and you are wanting to start a group, you have to consider, do I want to have an adult in the group? Because that can be a little creepy.
A little
so
weird.
It's really for your safety as well as others. So it's
Like,
a fine line.
it really
It's a very
is.
fine line, because me as a 26-year-old woman, I don't think that I would want to necessarily be with a really young minor dancing with them, just because I don't feel like it would be a comfortable situation just because of the age gap.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also hard to explain, I guess.
It's not so much a discrimination against someone who is a younger age. There have been situations in past groups, not specifically ones I've been a part of, where adults have expressed discomfort towards dancing with minors, and there has been issue that arose from it, dramatic problems that definitely caused a rift in the community for a little bit, especially the local community. And it's really important to properly communicate that discomfort and explain precisely why that discomfort is there. And sometimes not including minors is the way to do that. Like for our group, for example, we are 18 and over, and we have that in our scouting forms and our scouting sheets. And if they don't check off that box, we can't consider them. And that's just for the safety of us and them and everything. It's a hard thing to look at, but it's really important.
Having a mixed group is really difficult, but I think minors having a group and adults having groups is a lot easier. But having a mixed group is when it starts to become a little bit more difficult and lines start to become a little more gray.
Yeah. There's also a very stark contrast in the maturity of a minor and an adult. It can cause some conflict, and it can just be really annoying and uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So
it's always conflict that really could be avoided, but it just isn't ever.
Yeah.
And
it's important to find people that you work well with.
Yeah, for sure.
And maturity level is definitely a big part of finding people who you work well with. If you're working with people who are like, if you're working with people who are at a lower maturity level than you, be prepared for there to be conflict.
And also along that line of which age group, also like strangers versus people you know. Strangers can be very creepy. And don't arrange to meet with a stranger on the internet. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
No.
Don't do it.
Not a good idea.
Stranger
Adult,
danger is
child.
real. Stranger danger is very real.
Absolutely.
But if you're in the case like me and you apparently can't get that through your skull and you like to meet and join idol groups that you've never met before, make sure someone knows where you are at all times. Like when I was first coming to meet the other members of this particular dance group, which are all great. None of them are creepy, don't worry. But my mom knew where I would be. My partner at the time knew where I'd be. They had me call as soon as I arrived, called as soon as they had me check in periodically so that they knew I was okay. Because that was a very big concern for them. And I know for me, I was like, oh no, they're all dancers. They're cool. That's not always the case.
Never, no. This community is full of people of different backgrounds and ages, and it's a very diverse community. But with that comes possible creepy people. You can't avoid it. There are creepy people no matter where you go. So you really need to be cautious, especially when you're meeting a stranger, no matter what age you are.
Yeah. Sierra, on the other hand, looks at danger in the face and joins the idol group.
And we are very thankful for her.
Yes, it worked out perfectly.
It really did.
It did.
I don't know. It just literally didn't register to me because I'm like, oh, I've been talking to these people for so long. And I'm like, That's not the same as meeting
Yeah.
people and actually knowing them. But now I do. Safety.
Yeah. It did help that we were able to talk to you a lot beforehand. It just really helped solidify that decision. And it helped that we would be with the group instead of just meeting one-on-one.
Well, yeah, and like you guys had already like had a little bit of content and everything, so I could already connect faces to some of the images and everything like that. So it wasn't just this anonymous person named Allie. It was, I see Allie, I can pinpoint this face to this person. So in case my mom was like, oh no, Kristen never came back home, we're like, hey, this is this person's photo, we can find them.
You could easily report me.
Yeah.
Oh man. Also, something that we have that I made sure to think about and consider for a long time was why we're forming a group. I didn't want to just go into this blind. I wanted to have a goal. So let me pull it up because I can't remember it off the top of my head, ironically. Our group goal is to cosplay and perform with a group of friends, old and new, as well as foster a kind and flourishing idol community. So that was the drive behind the positivity talk we had earlier. But just being able to contribute in a kind manner with the rest of the idol community. I thought it was very important. I know there are a lot of negative stories about really any fandom in general, but specifically ones regarding the idol community. So we just wanted to pump some positivity in there and
break
try
those
to make it better.
stigmas and
Yes, break the cycle. So I think we're doing the dance and perform and cosplay with friends really well, or nailing that. We got it. Even if we're social distance. But we just want to have that focus and that reason why we're together to drive us and keep us inspired. So I think it's important to have a reason why. So I'll get off my soapbox.
It is important to have a reason why, because I mean, having goals gives you something to strive towards. If you want short-term goals of working on this song, or long-term goals of performing at this area, like, you know, those are goals that you have to start from a place of, okay, well, what do I want to do with where I am and with the people I'm with? Like, where do I want to go with this? Does this want to be something that is we do just for fun, or is this something that's going to be a little bit more professional? Like, those are all things that have to be considered. And it's just we just gotta join together and be part of the best group of idols ever.
And even if the group goal is just hang out with friends and do some dance, like that's perfect. As long as that is what you want to do, it's excellent. Primo. Good goal.
It's important to have a goal for your group. It's also important to establish rules for that group, whether they be spoken or not. Just in general, to keep you and others in the group safe. Those rules can be kind of incorporated with that kind of goal. Like, for example, we want to foster a kind and flourishing idol community. So kind of an unspoken rule with that is, let's be positive, let's be kind to each other. That's just a given. If you're going to join Sirene, for example, got to be positive.
And we're still even working on that. The panorama has affected us.
The Panera.
Yeah, the Panera. it's really affected our positivity, and we are still working on it. So we are not perfect, but we are trying.
Nobody's perfect.
And we're still like trying to find ways around doing things and producing content even during it, because we can do solo content, we can do small groups, we can do things with masks. Like I know for our Halloween PV, I sewed a group of masks that we all wore and we all matched, and I thought that was super cute. I mean, it's stuff like that that we continue to work towards, and we're safe, and we're yeah. Forgot where I was going with that, but yeah.
But
You did it.
Go off of the
You did it.
stuff. I feel like, at least from our personal group, we're really good about being positive towards other members in the group, other idol groups. But one thing we like all personally struggle with is a lot of that self-positivity, myself included. And like that is really important. Like, don't be so hard on yourself. Like, even if it's not all you want it to be, you still look good. I don't want to hear it. You look good. Okay. Like, you know what? As long as you're happy, that's all that should matter. Like, have a good time.
We're doing it for fun after all. Like, why else would we be adults dressing up in costumes?
And
I mean, I don't
dancing.
work in the theater. I
Well,
wish I did. It'd be
Hanah
pretty
does.
fun.
Adults
I-
are fun.
Like, at the end of the day, we're people dressing up in brightly colored wigs and brightly colored costumes and dancing in public. Like, we're here to have fun.
Yes, absolutely.
We're here, whether it be just a personal, like, oh, I'm having fun dancing with my friends, or I'm bringing positivity and confidence and color into other people's lives, and that brings me joy. Any of it. Like, as long as it makes you happy, that's literally what matters the most in being an idol group, I think.
Yeah. Does anybody have any lovely stories to share during their journey?
I have one.
Go ahead.
It's kind of a funny story, something that I'll admit. So my very first group, I was very naive about the time and the effort that it takes to actually do stuff and make a dance video. And so it gets to the day of filming. We had not practiced. We had not gotten together and done it. I hadn't done anything but look at the video. My expectations for myself were completely astronomical. I was just.
You hadn't practiced a single bit before filming day.
We hadn't practiced a single bit before. We had watched the video, and we hadn't practiced. This was like multiple people did this. Like, it wasn't just me. It was like none of us had prepared to the point of. And then the day was here.
Oh,
and
no.
then so I was freaking out, and they gave me the option to sit out, but I was like, nah, I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm gonna go for it. I'm
Oh no.
And it didn't turn out very well.
I'm sure it didn't.
It did not go great. So the moral of the story is put the time in, practice, do more than just watch the video on your phone and hope for the freaking best.
Yeah, this is definitely a time commitment.
Because it's a real commitment and it's practice. So, man, don't go in there blindly thinking that it's just gonna be easy and like you can just. So, yeah.
Bump into each other.
So, rest in peace, Snow Halation.
Oh man.
Oh no. Well, with that, I think I think that's a good moral to end on.
This is a time commitment. Be positive.
Yes.
Do your best.
Do your best.
Do your best.
And you'll get more confidence the more you practice. So don't get discouraged along the way. You'll get there.
This is true.
Yes.
Very true.
Absolutely. Well, Jay, are we out of time?
Just about. We have 30 seconds.
Woo! All right. So we ended at a perfect time. We hope that we helped a little at least. But yeah, if you watched this and it inspired you to start your own idol group, or you gained some little bit of knowledge, you can let us know. We are on Instagram as Sirene Idol Club. We would love to hear from you. Thank you for giving us your time. We love you. You're great and wonderful. And we will see you hopefully live soon, eventually. But all right.
Post panorama.
Post panorama.
Yep. All right. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.